And welcome back to a fresh episode of the Business Growth Show. I'm your host, Sam Dunning, co owner over at webchoiceuk.com. And if you haven't yet, check out my weekly email where I share actionable B2B marketing and website tips, useful podcasts, free goodies, resources, and more to kick off your week with a bang. Why not give it a try over at businessgrowth.emails? Joining me today, I've got Daniel Incandela. Daniel's the CMO over at Reachdesk. Daniel, welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, Sam. Thanks so much for having me. That was a very impressive introduction.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it. Usually have a Pepsi or something like that to hype me up just before we hit record. So I need that little sugar buzz to get it going. We're going to be talking all about how everyone tuning in, listening, can market themselves, market their business, market their brand as an authentic company today. So first and foremost, Daniel, what does being authentic as a company, as a brand, really mean?
Hmm. I think no matter how you think about a brand, B2C, B2B, and so on, it's still the people behind that.
Mm,
And especially in B2B, we are marketing directly to humans, and it's about human relationships. So the way I think about it is that how do you bring in some humanness, some of the company culture into the way that you're marketing, so you can give prospects, customers, partners, and so on a glimpse into what the company is really like. And that to
right.
me is the most meaningful type of marketing you can do.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So bringing, yeah, like you say, B2C, B2B, at the end of the day, we're all marketing to humans. We're all trying to do business with other prospects, other people. Um, as many as there are B2B companies out there that seem to forget that and love the corporate mumbo jumbo that I often ramble on about on LinkedIn, when
Yep.
it comes to using jargon, when it comes to actually not realizing who your prospects are, who the customers are you're talking to. Um, so with that said, what are some ideas around switching if we think that our marketing is not actually resonating with humans, and with our target prospects? What are some of the things that you like to recommend to actually make sure our marketing is authentic and it is relatable to the people we want to attract?
I think it goes back to the people behind the brand, and that starts with your colleagues.
Right.
I've been at Reachdesk now for almost 10 months. I joined them specifically for the humans that work here and the culture that they have built. That is the most important thing to me professionally, is to work with good human beings around something that we all believe in. That was evident to me. So the marketing we do at Reachdesk has to capture what the employees stand for, as individuals, but also how it ties into the company vision, values, and so on. So it starts there, from my opinion. If you're not capturing the voice of the company in your marketing, I think it's a big miss. And the other thing to consider is that I view all of my colleagues at Reachdesk as ambassadors for the brand to begin with. So if we're not bringing them along on this journey as we build a company, as we build a brand, and so on, then that's a huge mistake. So step one for me is always look at things internally to ensure that you're
Right.
capturing what the company stands for, and then align that with how you're going to market to try and sell the company, the products, and so on.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I want to dive deeper into how this actually affects your go-to-market strategy and how this can then tie into driving revenue for your business shortly. Um, what are some good ways, in your opinion, Daniel, to actually understand how do we go about capturing the values of our company?
How you talk to people, that has to be part of it. Um, our vision at Reachdesk is that every business is loved by their customers, employees, and the planet. And so that to me is a pretty deep vision, because it transcends a pipeline number or quarterly goals, goes beyond profits.
Right.
Uh, we are trying to use what we're doing as a company, and I get to market gift giving, which is about as good as it gets. But we're really talking about how do we use gifting to build deeper human connections, create meaningful relationships. but along the same way, how do we do things like guarantee the success of our product? How do we ensure that we are operating in a way that is not damaging the planet? And when you think about that as a vision, to me, that is something pretty powerful. And my my enviable task here is I get to market that, which is a huge challenge, but in the same way, it's about as authentic as it gets, because ultimately we're trying to be a really good company that takes care of our customers, the planet, and ensures people are successful. So that's what I am trying to capture. And every company you go into is going to have some form of vision and values that align to something that goes beyond just a tagline or this B2B jargon that you mentioned at the beginning that is so annoying. But let's just talk like human beings in a way that people can understand, that ultimately is about building a relationship. And if you're trying to get too clever or crafty with the message, it's never going to work. Just be authentic.
Yeah, yeah. I love the idea of being clear and straightforward. Now, in terms of actually putting together your brand value, so you said talk to your team, talk to your colleagues. Should it be mostly geared around them and our own staff, our own team, or how much of a split should it be between that, what our own goals for the company are, our colleagues, our team, and then also our customers, i.e., what they want out of the business, out of the relationship? Is there like a split we take, or?
Yeah, I look at it as the internal exercise of, it's often occurred where there may be an internal cross-departmental working group that is defining values and cultural aspects.
Hmm.
That's fine. I think that's where it needs to start, because it's essentially defining the DNA of the company. But what's most important, and I think is paramount here, is it's about the customer. Without the customers, we are not a company. We
Yep.
don't get to tell even greater stories, because that's what we're trying to help the customers do, is be the heroes on their own journeys. We want them to build really strong connections in their own businesses. So it has to be about the customer. And ultimately, if you're defining the DNA of the company, then that is going to be your secret weapon in appealing to the customer, because the customer still wants to do business with good people. They want to have a connection with the salesperson or someone in customer success and so on,
Yep.
because as remote as we get, we still want to have that human connection, and it's about the culture that we're building. So it is a mixture of certainly defining the internal DNA, but it has to align to what the customer needs and wants and so on.
Mm. Love that. I love the line, "You make your customer your hero." I don't know if that was, or the hero. I don't know if that was originally from the book, but there's a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller,
Yes.
where that's where I learned about it when I read that a few years back when it was recommended to me. Such a great book for all kinds of things on marketing, your website, your messaging, your headline. It really
Yep.
makes you feel that everything shouldn't be geared towards yourself, but kind of what the value you can bring to your prospects, to your potential customers, to your buyers. So you're really focusing on what do they care about, quickly show them kind of the value prop you bring to the table, and really understand kind of what's key for them, because ultimately they're the
Yep.
one buying your stuff, not not yourselves. So it's a really, really good book for that side of things.
Yeah, I love that book too, and I totally stole it from that, and also Joseph Campbell and any Star
Okay.
Wars movie. It's all about the
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah. So with that in mind, have you got any tips for how you can actually, or how your teams extracted that intel around kind of making your customer the hero, what your customer actually cares about, and then kind of getting that intel from your customers, how you go about it, and then how you leverage that in your brand values?
Well, I'm fortunate to work at a company that I think was born out of solving some of these issues for the customer, and by founders that had experienced the exact same pains.
Right.
So I think we got off to a head start. But but what I do frequently in marketing, whether it's a branding exercise, entirely new messaging, even bigger campaigns, is to gather feedback and
Mhm.
focus groups, and that can be from internal audiences, which is important, but always needs to include external input. So often get feedback directly from customers on things we are thinking about, whether it's informal of just email or a Zoom, or through our customer advisory board, so that we're consistently thinking about the customer as we're developing things and getting real-time feedback. But you can also get that from partners and analysts and so on. So I think it's helpful to consistently ask for feedback. And
Sure.
then, I'm fortunate that I also get to lead our sales development team for outbound and inbound, and they're on the front lines every day discovering if our messaging, if our approach to branding, our content, and so on is resonating. So getting feedback from those in audiences that are actually pitching and getting live feedback is sort of a live 5 day a week focus group for marketers too. And that's a really important thing to capture, because otherwise, uh, my fear is that I end up falling in love with the wrong message
Yep.
and lose sight of
Easily
what
done.
really matters. And I see that across lots of software companies where it's clear that
Yeah.
they love the wordsmithing that they've come up with, but it's not sticking. And so I try to never take that part for granted.
It's so important, right? I mean, like you say, B2B software tech companies are often guilty of it, as well as many other B2B verticals. Just you go on their website, for an example, you maybe flick onto their homepage or a couple landing pages, you look at their headlines, you kind of think, well, there's a lot of tech jargon here. It looks like they really understand what they do well, but I'm not too sure of the value they can bring to the table or the problem they're going to solve for me. And you kind of spend a couple minutes on these sites and you're still none the better, or none the
Hmm.
wiser rather, for how they're going to help you, or if they're actually a good fit for your business or your company. So yeah, working off feedback from customers is of course so important to make sure your message is resonating, understand the problems that you're solving, understand the problems your customers care about solving and their frustrations. So then you can, of course, make an impact with your outbound motion or your marketing messaging or whatever ways you're looking to leverage it.
Yep,
Really, really
completely.
good point. Now, when it comes to brand guarantees, and when it comes to your company values, well, company values first of all, before we go into brand guarantees. When it comes to company values, how do we actually use these? Like when I think of it in my head, I kind of think, oh, it might be some messaging on your website, or maybe utilized in some ads, and maybe a branding kit, and maybe some promotional material. Is that right, or is there a lot more to it than that?
It should be a lot more to it. The amount of times, you know, one of the measurements I used when interviewing and ultimately picking Reachdesk was, did the values that they have on their website, which essentially almost every B2B company has them on their website somewhere, do those values align with how people operate and behave and treat? And I was fortunate in that Reachdesk it really is in their DNA. And our values are pretty simple. One is to deliver happiness. The other is to win as a team. The other one is be bold, learn fast, get things done. And the other one is treat people like people. That is appropriate for all internal projects, but also how we would work with a prospect, a partner, a customer, an investor, an analyst.
Right.
And so that becomes, I mentioned sort of this internal DNA earlier. This becomes the DNA of how we act. Deliver happiness is about gift giving, and gift giving is one of the oldest things that has occurred in human history. It's something that every culture does across this entire planet. And we believe that gifting will not only produce business results for you, but it delivers happiness. It builds really strong and meaningful relationships. And it's a nice surprise in someone's day. Win as a team is that we are here for one another, but we're here specifically for our customer to make them the heroes. Be bold and learn fast is about innovating, and that's entirely for our customer. And then treat people like people, which is seems like such a simple thing, but if we go back to our vision, um, it is about treating humans like humans. And if we think about the vision again, every business is loved by the customers, employees, and the planet. I think those values align directly to the vision. But then when we think about some things that we've rolled out this year, things like brand guarantees that we make to our customers,
Right.
our focus on sustainability, um, even the product innovation where we are building out greater insights so that anyone sending a gift can track, measure, and show the ROI and the power of gifting. This is when we start operating as our values state and also start showing an intentionally authentic and human approach to business that is beyond just profits. But the fact is, we really do want our customers to be heroes, and we are willing to show that in the way that we act, and show transparency.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like these values really reflect on almost all parts of the business, from internal to external to your customers. So all different bits and pieces of the puzzle when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing.
Yep. And the trick is, like, if you look at any company values, they will align in that way. It's not much of a stretch to make them fit in the business. It's whether the internal team is honoring that and being intentional in how they integrate that into what's going to market. And on the marketing side, we take this very seriously because we all believe that the best type of marketing is authentic and has meaning.
Gotcha. So what exactly are brand guarantees? With that said, Daniel, you mentioned them just now. What do they mean?
We have three, and we're continually looking at these to expand. But the first one is we offer guarantees specifically on return on investment, and that is, we guarantee a 5x ROI on pipeline generated by using our product. That's the first one. The second one is that we have a marketplace guarantee. So a marketplace is kind of our app store for gifts, where you can go in and pick stuff from all over the world. And if someone can purchase the same gift from the same supplier at a lower price, we will refund the difference. And that is because we want people to have a very straightforward, easy experience in picking a gift with us. And we're not going to try and make money off of them. And then the final one is a refund guarantee. And the fact is, we'll return unused customer funded credit when the contract ends. And the reason we did this is because, one, we have that much confidence in the product and the power of gifting. I mentioned the investment in insights and analytics, so we have the data to back this up. And so we want the customer, the prospect, and partner to know that we are 100% confident in what we can offer them to make them look like heroes and also show the ROI. Because gifting or direct mail is not a nice to have, it is an essential channel to anyone trying to market. And that could be anything from generating pipeline, also tied to customer satisfaction and renewals, could be used to accelerate the sales cycle, and is also about taking care of your employees. So internal gifting, which can affect NPS scores internally and employee retention. So we think that gifting is something much bigger than it currently is, and we wanted to showcase these guarantees as a way of establishing not just the trust with the customer, but show them we're fully confident in what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like Reachdesk, we've got some pretty strong ones when it comes to the guarantees that you offer your customers. Do you think this is something that's important that all companies provide? Do you think companies can go along without offering these kind of things to prospects, to buyers? Or do you think it's really important for revenue growth?
That's a good question. I think it can take many forms. I do think that companies deserve to be, they should be more transparent with customers, especially around product capabilities and what it can do for them. This is not going to work for a lot of companies. I'm fortunate to work at a place where the CEO and the co-founders are committed to being this type of company, but I think this is rare. We are as much focused on growing as a company as we are as being authentic and kind and thoughtful. It's not always the case. So it works absolutely for Reachdesk. It's not going to work at other companies.
Gotcha. And so we've covered quite a bit, Daniel, in terms of kind of how you can capture the values of your company, how you can go about doing that, what the company values actually look like, and how they can be useful, and brand guarantees. But how can these then be utilized in your go-to-market strategy?
We so more specifically around the guarantees, we are using them as part of our paid strategy to drive inbound interest. So we're running ads touting our ROI guarantee as a way of generating pipeline. Our sales development team and sales team are using brand guarantees, are focused on sustainability in any conversations with prospects and customers as a way of building connection and also establishing value. We integrated into the content that we are writing. We work with our PR team to ensure that we're getting the message out. And in our space, we also want to be seen as innovators and trailblazers. So in our space, which has a number of competitors, we're choosing to be the leaders in things like transparency, the guarantees, sustainability, and so on. And that becomes a pretty powerful message, whether it's being used for ads or in social or PR or blog posts and so on, because we want our customers to want to work with us because of the steps we're taking that go beyond just trying to get their business. We're trying to show them too that it's a company filled with wonderfully caring humans that care about customers, the planet, and being kind. And that to me is such an honor to be able to market that type of stuff.
Yeah. And have you found taking this approach has had quite a positive impact on the company's revenue?
I would say we're still tracking that. We debuted this in Q2 and we're just about to end Q3. Early indicators are yes, it is having an impact. And despite what has been a very odd year when it comes to war and the economy, potential recession, oil prices, and all of that stuff, we're having a really healthy year. So I would say that it is early indicators is that it is working. But I think it can actually do more. We're still a young company that is figuring out stuff. So I'm actually excited to see what this can do for Q4 and also next year.
Yeah, good to hear. And in terms of these things that we've discussed, Daniel, around being an authentic company, around having brand company values, how often do these things need to be reviewed? Is it something you review every 6 months, every year, every few years, or what's the process?
I align this similarly to just company messaging,
Okay.
and my experience is that you end up doing company messaging at least twice a year. You get it done, you love it, and then you find yourself 6 months later changing it because that's our industry. B2B and tech and software moves very fast.
Sure does, yeah.
You have to evolve with it, and if your message isn't on point, then you're going to miss out. So this is something that we'll continue to look at. It's something that I talk to our co-founder and CRO Alex Ollie a lot with these types of things, and we're not done investing in the brand side of things for Reachdesk. I think we've done a great job on the messaging, these guarantees, and some of the other stuff, but we're just getting started on the brand side. So I'm really excited about that, but we can't do that without all the things we've discussed and ensuring that it is evolving as our customers do.
Nice one. Daniel, look, really appreciate the conversation, sir. Thanks very much for coming on the show and sharing valuable insights, tips, and how-tos when it comes to marketing as an authentic company, as an authentic brand. So with that said, please do tell us more about how everyone tuning in can connect with you, learn more, and anything you'd like to direct our audience to.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me. This was a lot of fun. I work for Reachdesk. So if you go to reachdesk.com, you can learn more about that. And then you can find me on the interwebs if you just search Daniel Incandela. Thanks very much for having me.
No worries at all. We'll put all of those links over on the show notes at businessgrowth.marketing. And if you enjoyed today's episode, a quick rating on your audio podcast channel or subscribe on YouTube goes a long way. And with that, we should catch you on the next episode for more no BS actionable B2B marketing tips and insights Cheers for tuning in.